Plagiarism. What are the best plagiarism checkers out there that you can try today? Hi there, my name is Brian Collins and welcome to the Become a Writer Today channel. So I've spent weeks trying different types of plagiarism checker tools because I love the latest writing apps and software. At first I thought a plagiarism checker was something that works the same as a grammar checker. But after trying and testing the free and premium versions of the tools that I'm going to feature in this video, I discovered that that's not always the case. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 12 different tools that you can use to check your articles, to check your essays, your books, and any work for academia. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of these tools and whether you should use them. Hope you enjoy the content in this video. If you do, hit thumbs up, and if you want to get more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. To test the tools in this video, I'm going to take an article from Become a Writer Today, which is a masterclass review. I'm going to paste this text into each of these plagiarism checkers and to see if they can find that this article has actually been published online. The reason why I do this is this represents my workflow for using these plagiarism checkers. When a new freelance writer that I'm vetting sends me an article, I'll paste the work into a plagiarism checker or to one of the tools that I'm about to show you to see if they've used too much of this content or taken content elsewhere online. I'll also use these plagiarism checkers to see if I have some content in my article and I've perhaps misattributed something or not cited somebody correctly. In other words, to avoid accidental or inadvertent plagiarism. So what I'll typically do is select all of this text and just paste it into the plagiarism checker in question. Grammarly offers a plagiarism checker that I use almost every day to check articles that I publish on my sites. Now, to use the plagiarism checker in Grammarly, you're going to need to take out the premium version, which costs $30 a month. In other words, you can't do this with the free version. But of course, if you take out the premium subscription, you're getting much more than the plagiarism checker. You're also getting the AI-powered writing assistant and grammar checker, and I do walk through some of those features elsewhere on this channel, so do check out those videos. But for the purposes of this particular video, let's just focus on the Grammarly plagiarism checker. All you need to do is paste your article into Grammarly and it'll scan it for typos and grammar mistakes. But if you click on this option here on the sidebar, it will actually scan the articles for instances of plagiarism online. And I was pleased to see that this has found that this particular article has been published online, in other words, on my site. And it's given me some information that I can use about where else it's been published online too. So you can just simply navigate through all of these. So basically, if you're working with a freelance writer and they send you an article, you could paste their work in and see if they've taken their content from another site or have they perhaps paraphrased somebody but not attributed or cited them correctly. So I do use the Grammarly plagiarism checker quite a lot. So to show you some other examples, I'm just going to go to the My Grammarly dashboard. And here is another option that here's an article that a writer sent me recently. Again, Grammarly will take a moment to scan it and I'm going to click plagiarism. It'll take a moment to scan the article depending on the length of it. And it's saying that 1% matches the text on this source. So this article is actually about mullein tea, which is a type of tea. Whereas this article is not about mullein tea, so I wouldn't be worried about this instances of plagiarism. So it's probably just nothing to be concerned about. And again, something else that I wouldn't really be concerned about here. And again, something else that I wouldn't be concerned about here. So I'm only really concerned if the percentage, is higher than 1% or if the link that Grammarly is providing me is similar in topic or similar in content to what's here. And this is where you're going to use your own best judgment as a writer. But basically, if you're using Grammarly already for grammar checking and for the AI-powered writing assistant, then just consider the plagiarism checker as another tool that will help you publish something that you're happy to stand by. ProWritingAid is another tool that I use quite a lot, particularly for long form writing. I use it because it works with tools like Scrivener and it has lots of additional writing reports. Again, I cover this in another video where I go into the ProWritingAid reports in more detail and explain how you can use them. But we're mostly interested in plagiarism for this video. So just click on more report or paste your article into ProWritingAid, or you can open up the desktop app and do it. Then click on more reports and then click on plagiarism. Now I'm in Europe, so these ProWritingAid prices are in euros, so you'll need to convert them to dollars if you're in the United States. But you do need to purchase plagiarism reports as an extra by taking out a subscription for Premium Plus, and it costs approximately €4 more, so that's approximately $5 more. And then you can use the plagiarism checker inside of ProWritingAid. Interestingly, ProWritingAid didn't actually surface that this article was published elsewhere online. So I have used ProWritingAid before and it has caught instances of where my articles have been published elsewhere online, but I was surprised to find that it didn't catch this particular article. So it may have been an instance or an issue with that particular article because I took another article from my site and pasted it in, and this article was about deliberate practice, if you're interested in reading the article. But when I pasted it into ProWritingAid, it did find where this text had been used online. So the plagiarism checker, you know, it was surfacing issues for me, but for some reason it did miss that particular article. Copyscape is another popular plagiarism tracker that a lot of content publishers use. In other words, if you're running a website and you're commissioning articles by other writers, then you can use Copyscape to protect the content on your site. In other words, it's for checking content that you've written or published rather than elsewhere. So I'm going to paste in this particular the URL for the masterclass review into Copyscape, and it'll just take a moment to find instances of where this has been used online. And it's saying that there's no instances of duplicate content for this article anywhere online, which is good. But I actually do have a premium subscription for Copyscape, so I do want to show you some of the other additional reports. So the premium version of Copyscape involves purchasing credits. The credits don't cost much. It really is a very cheap plagiarism checker. I think I bought $100 worth of credits about 6 months ago, and I'm still checking articles on my site. So I'm going to paste in the masterclass URL, and I'm going to do premium search this time. And see what it surfaces. So you can see here it's going to cost me 63 cents, and which is above my limit of 40 cents. So I'm going to override that, and then I'm going to click premium search. Now it's found more insights than the free version of Copyscape, and this is actually what I was looking for. So it looks like there's a couple of articles here which has similar content to what I have. Now that's not to say that these people have plagiarized my article. Perhaps they're phrased in the same way, or perhaps it's just some other issue. The only way for me to figure that out is actually to go in and investigate the content on each of these articles. And in this case, it's saying that 173 words match 3% of the text. So it's not plagiarized, so it's not something I'd be concerned about. It's just somebody has covered the same topic that I've covered. So perhaps when they're talking about the pros and cons of masterclass, it's similar to how I described it, which is fair enough. So what I would do is I would go through each one of these links and see if there's anything I should be concerned about. Now, I did use Copyscape a few months ago, and I did find somebody who had actually plagiarized my entire article. So I issued a Google DMCA takedown request based on the Copyscape report. And to be honest, that's not something that I would have found if I hadn't been using Copyscape. And it wasn't something that any of the other tools were able to show me. So if you have a lot of content on your site, I'd recommend checking it out. And in fact, if you have a lot of content on your site, you can use Copyscape for batch results and batch searches. So if you go to the batch search section, you can add a series of URLs in one go, and then you can scan them all. Or alternatively, if you use the batch results section, you can put in your entire site. So here are some of the articles on my site, and you can see that it's color-coded potential issues with plagiarism for some of these articles. Now, again, I'd need to go in and investigate these one by one to see what the issue is. So let me find one here that I could look at. So this one here is Amber, Best Writing Apps for iPad. And again, there's a couple of different articles that I'd need to click through and see is there any instances of things that I should be concerned about. So this is where you're going to have to spend a bit more time vetting content that you published on your site versus what's published elsewhere. And also as the writer, you do need to be careful not to inadvertently plagiarize somebody else's work. So you can use it for that too. Chegg is another grammar and plagiarism checker that's popular with students and those writing essays. I think it costs $14.99 per month. And you can actually just try it for free for checking your articles for instances of inadvertent plagiarism or otherwise. So when I pasted in my masterclass review, it gave me a score, and it said that there was issues with plagiarism. In other words, the article has been published elsewhere online, i.e. on my site. And to actually get the links, I do need to take out the premium subscription. So I need to click upgrade now and take out an account. But this is quite popular with essayists and academics, and I do have a more detailed review where I go through the free and premium version on my site, and I'll put a link to that in the video notes. Plagiarism Detector is another free plagiarism tool that you can use. You don't even need to take out an account. You can actually check up to 1,000 words without taking out a premium subscription, or you can check 25,000 words if you want to go pro. Now, at the time of recording this video, Go Pro students can take it out for $20 per month. And if you're an institute or a business, you can take it out for $50 per month, and you can use it to check your essays and otherwise. So I'm going to paste in my article. I'm only going to paste in 800 words because it won't let me check the full 5,000 words, which is the length of the article. Or alternatively, I could put the URL in here, but I'm not going to do that because it's 5,000 words. So I'm going to click check plagiarism. Plagiarism Detector actually took a full minute to scan the article, so it's one of the slower tools that's out there. That said, I was pleased to see that it was reasonably accurate, so it did surface the URL on my site where this text came from. It also surfaced a few other URLs that I wasn't familiar with. I don't know if these people had plagiarized the article. I'm not saying they did, but when I clicked on one of these articles, I was interested to see that the page has actually been suspended. That said, when you are using these tools, you do need to actually go and click the links and evaluate if the content is similar to yours or not. Now, for a 1,000-word restriction, you're not going to get very far with the free version of Plagiarism Detector unless it's a really short article or essay. So you will need to take out the premium subscription if you want to use this tool, and that's going to cost you $20 per month. So you could use it for perhaps a short-term project and then move on. So it is a little bit cheaper than some of the other tools I've profiled. The next plagiarism checker that I've tried is called Quillbot. Like many of the premium tools in this roundup and that I've featured elsewhere on the channel, Quillbot is more than a plagiarism checker. When you take out a premium subscription, you also get a grammar checker, a paraphraser, and some other tools for generating citations and summarizing your content. A premium subscription will cost you $19 per month. So I took out a premium subscription for this review. So I'm going to go over to the plagiarism checker now to show you how it works. Basically, once you've taken out a premium subscription, you can check 20 pages using the plagiarism checker. And you can buy additional pages if you run out. So you simply click here. And 25 pages will cost me $7.45. So it will cost a little bit extra to use the plagiarism checker. So I've taken out the premium subscription and I have my pages for use. So I can either upload a file from my computer or I can paste in text. But in this case, I'm just going to paste in text from my clipboard and it'll just take a second to populate the plagiarism checker. Then I'll simply click scan. And because of the premium version, I don't need to worry about the word count. And this will cost me approximately 24 pages. So I was a bit surprised by this. So apparently I need to buy more pages to scan 5,000 words. So there must be a word count or character count restriction per page. So I'm going to go ahead and buy more pages. So I went ahead and bought another 20 pages for $7.45. So I spent $15 on the plagiarism checker and now I can check 6,000 words. So Quillbot is going to take a moment to scan my document. So I paused the video. I'm now about 30 or 45 seconds in and it's still scanning the document. So it probably is a bit slower than some of the other plagiarism checkers out there. So Quillbot took about 3, maybe 4 minutes to scan the entire document. So I'm going to click on view report and see what it's come up with. So it said that there's a 99.6% match of plagiarism, and it's great to see that it's found the article was published on my site. And it's also found where some elements of the article are on other sites. Again, I'd need to go and check these links. It could be just the case that they've talked about something in the same way that I've described it, because it is a review. So this actually does look quite good in terms of usability because it's giving me a score, a percentage score. So I could use this percentage to decide what to click on and what not to pay attention to. And the fact that these are all pretty low, 3%, 3%, 1%, I probably wouldn't be concerned about that. The only one that stands out is this one here, that's 78% similar words. So let's go over and click on that. So it looks like it's a PDF document. And when I scroll down, it's hard to interpret what exactly this is. So some of the content does look like something similar to what appeared on my site. In fact, looking at this sentence here, it is content that has appeared on my site. So it's something that's hosted on Weebly as a PDF. So I suppose I could potentially investigate that and issue a DMCA takedown request based on what Quillbot has surfaced. So I would say that this is an exceptionally accurate plagiarism checker. Very easy to use. The only downsides are, I mean, I couldn't justify buying or spending $10 or $15 every time I wanted to check an article for plagiarism, because that's money I would spend on editing, and I can do that for free using some of the other tools I've shown you, or I can do that with Grammarly. That said, if I'd written a longer piece of work like an essay, and that probably brings me back to the best use case for Quillbot. If I'd written an essay or something for publication on a premium newspaper, or if I was doing something for college or academia, then I'd probably use the plagiarism checker to make sure I haven't accidentally plagiarized or inadvertently plagiarized. And to be fair, that is something that they call out, that this is for content, not just on the web, which is probably what the other plagiarism checkers are only looking at, but also in books, research papers, academic papers, and news sources. So it sounds like Quillbot goes a little bit deeper than some of the other plagiarism checkers, and the downside is that you need to pay for 250 words. So definitely an accurate plagiarism checker, but whether it's useful for you or not depends on one, who you're writing for, two, what you've written, and three, where you're planning on publishing the article. The next tool I'd like to show you is called PlagiarismCheckorg. When I published my roundup of plagiarism checkers on Become a Writer Today, they actually reached out to me and offered me a free trial for their software. And I get these kind of emails all the time, but I don't always take out the trials because I can't keep up with all of the different tools that are out there. But in this case, I was immediately impressed to see that they've got a lot of users, 77,000, and they've been in business for 8 years, and that they work with a lot of different tools and technologies that you may use if you're in academia. For example, Moodle, and they also have add-ons for Google Docs, Google Classroom, and so on. So in terms of pricing, now I did get a free trial, so you can take out an individual subscription for $5.99 per month, and you can check 20 pages. And 20 pages, like Quillbot, is 275 words. So depending on how much you're checking, you may need to take out a more advanced subscription. So if you're going to check a lot of documents or a longer essay, chances are you're going to need a standard or even a premium subscription. They also have business pricing and organizational pricing as well. So I'm going to log into plagiarismcheck.org and show you how it works. So this is the dashboard for plagiarismcheck.org. Like any of the other tools I've shown you, I can just simply drag and drop files or upload them. Now I pasted in my masterclass review, which is approximately 6,000 words long. So this would cost me 22 pages. So if I go over to incognito mode to show you the pricing, this would mean I'd be taking out the light subscription or the basic subscription. I suppose I could get the word count down slightly if I took out the fluff. Anyway, let's go and scan the document. So I'm going to click continue, and Plagiarism Check will scan my document. So I'm going to pause the video and see how long this takes. So plagiarismcheck.org took approximately 50 to 60 seconds to scan my document. So it was a lot faster than Quillbot. And I was pleased to see that it spotted the article had been used on my site. And it also had unearthed some other links that I need to investigate that weren't unearthed by some of the other tools that I featured. So this one here has 15.07% similar wording. So I will click on this, and then it's going to give me a link, or it's showing me a highlight of text that's similar on this potential site. So what I would do then is go over to the site. So I'm going to go back here, copy the link, and some of the content looks potentially similar. Some of it looks a little bit different. Obviously, it's completely differently formatted. So can't imagine this is getting much traffic as well, because the site is quite badly laid out. So you can see how I potentially use plagiarismcheck.org. So my takeaway from using this particular tool is, like Quillbot, it's good if you're writing essays and if you're writing for academia, or if you're writing professional articles. But if you're publishing a lot of articles on your own site, you're probably not going to be able to afford to continue to buy pages to check lots of articles, because it would eat into your editing budget. But it is exceptionally accurate, and it will find additional instances of plagiarism that you won't be able to find with some of the other tools that I've featured. So I would recommend this if you're in academia, or if you're writing essays, or if you're serious about checking your work for plagiarism or protecting it. UniCheck is the next plagiarism checker that I've tried. I took out a premium subscription. Again, this is aimed at those in academia, and it's trusted apparently by 1,100 academic institutions globally. So you're probably wondering how much it costs. Well, it's a similar pricing model to Quillbot and plagiarismcheck.org in that you're paying per page. So if I were to check 100 pages, it's going to cost me $15. So that's what I took out a subscription for. So that should be more than enough for me to check my document. So I'm going to go over to the library to show you how it works. And again, I can just simply add a file, create folders, or upload folders. So in this case, I'm just going to click new file. I'm going to call this masterclass review. And I'm going to paste in my text. Now it's going to calculate the word count, and there's a restriction of 100,000 words. So I'm going to click create document. So 100,000 words. So you could technically check your entire book with this tool. Which is good to see, because some of the other tools that I featured probably wouldn't let you check that much in a single check. So now I'm going to go into the masterclass review, and I'm going to click Start Check. So it's taking me back to the dashboard, and it's probably going to take a few minutes to check this article for instances of plagiarism online. So I'm going to pause the video until this is complete. So UniCheck took about 50 to 60 seconds to check my document. Similar in terms of time as PlagiarismCheckorg, but a bit faster than Quillbot. So I'm going to open the document, and again, the usability is fantastic. So it's great to see that it's found where the article is published on my site. And it's also surfaced some similar links to PlagiarismCheckorg and Quillbot, and it's given me a percentage score. It's interesting to see that the percentage score of possible plagiarism does differ from tool to tool. So they probably have their own different ways of calculating what constitutes plagiarism. Now, again, this is aimed at academics and essayists. So there's options for citations, and there's also options for referencing. So I have no references in the document, so I can't check the references to see if they're correct. But if I was to write an academic essay, I could use that tool. I could also download the report, and I could send that to somebody if I was checking work by another writer. And I was interested to see that I can check sources from the internet, but also from my own library. So why would I want to check from my own library? Well, it probably means the UniCheck library, but I could upload some of my other articles and check I haven't inadvertently plagiarized myself, which is something you can be penalized for in academia. So again, my takeaway from using UniCheck is that it's competitively priced, it's fast, it's a good user interface, and it's accurate. But again, it's only suitable for those in academia or those writing essays. If you're writing articles or if you're a freelance writer, you're probably not going to be going down the paying per page model. Paperwriter is another popular grammar checker, mostly because it's free and because you can paste your text in without setting up an account and check it for grammar issues, and also check for other potential errors that you want to fix. Now, for the purposes of this video, I did want to take out a premium subscription. So I clicked on Advanced Check when I pasted in my masterclass document, and it took me to a Grammarly account. So they're probably an affiliate for Grammarly, as am I. But my takeaway is that if you're using Paperwriter, you can use the free version by all means. But if you want to get an advanced plagiarism check, you may as well just take out a Grammarly subscription. Writercom is another grammar checker and plagiarism checker, which is competing with Grammarly. It has similar tools to the other tools that I'll show you in this video. Pricing is competitive at $11 per month for the pro version, which you'll need for a plagiarism check. So I did try the pro version. You can take out a free trial for yourself. Now, personally, I do still prefer and use Grammarly more, simply because the AI-powered writing assistant in Grammarly is best in class. But this is a cheaper alternative if Grammarly is not for you. But that said, we're here to check the plagiarism checker. So I've created a new document. I've pasted in my text. You can see that it's going to find all the usual grammar errors and so on. But what I'm interested in for the purposes of this video is right here, which is the plagiarism check. So I'm going to click on the plagiarism report. Unlike the other tools in this video, it's giving me a percentage score for potentially plagiarized text. So what I would need to do is go and click through each one of these links and see which ones are potentially plagiarized or not. And at first I thought it didn't actually find the article on my site, so that was a bit disappointing. But when I went down through the links, it did actually find some text that had appeared on my site. But I did need to dig in to find this. So my takeaway from using Writer.com as a plagiarism checker is at $11 per month, you probably can't go wrong. You're probably only going to use this for checking articles and work you're publishing online. If you're in academia, you're not going to be using this because it's not really going to find stuff for your essays. And also the user interface probably doesn't surface plagiarism checks in the same way as some of the other tools that I've featured. By now you may be wondering, what about Turnitin? Yes, Turnitin is great. It's probably the most well-known plagiarism checker out there. In fact, when I was in college, I used Turnitin as a plagiarism checker to check my thesis before submitting it. And it's one that I get emails about all the time. Unfortunately, I couldn't feature Turnitin in this review, and I'm not able to review it in more detail because it's only available if you're in an academic institution. There's no real way for everyday freelance writers to get access to Turnitin. So if you're in university, certainly use this to check your essays, or if you're an academic and you have access, then by all means use Turnitin. But every other type of writer will need to consider one of the other tools that I've featured in this overview. Those are the 12 different plagiarism checkers out there that you can try and which are potentially worth your time and attention. My number one recommendation is the one I showed you at the start of the video, which is Grammarly, simply because you're getting a grammar checker, an AI-powered writing assistant, and a plagiarism checker, and you don't need to pay for any additional reports. But if you're looking for a cheaper alternative, you could potentially try Writercom, or if you simply want to use something different to Grammarly, you could use ProWritingAid. If you're a content website publisher, or you're concerned about duplicated content online, or concerned that you need to issue a DMCA takedown request, you're also going to need a Copyscape subscription, simply because it enables you to check articles in bulk that you've published on your site or niche websites. On the other hand, if you're writing in academia, if you're writing essays, professional documentation, or you just simply need to go deeper than checking content websites online, you won't go wrong with using PlagiarismCheckorg, Chegg, or UniCheck. But of course, these tools come with the caveat that you need to take out either a subscription and also pay per page. And the page tends to average between 200 and 300 words. So if you're checking a relatively big piece of work, that's going to cost you a little bit more. So do factor that in. Hope you found the content in this video helpful. If you do, hit thumbs up. And if you want to get more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.